Have you ever felt ashamed of something or that someone just ripped your heart right out of your chest and it just like left a black gaping hole, or that you had no hope? I mean, have you ever felt like when you try to look in the future, you see nothing but darkness, nothing but, just black darkness, that you just don't feel like you have any hope? This episode is for you. Hi, I'm Tanya Hendricks, and I am the host of Legacy Her Way. And this podcast is about women sharing stories of how they're building legacies on their own terms. And one of the things I strive to do with Legacy Her Way is to share real stories, real impact, so that you can hear how women are building their legacies, whether it's building a business or family or faith, or maybe it's just surviving. And today's episode kind of focuses on that latter part about just surviving, because I think many of us have been through situations where we just don't see how we're going to get through it. How are we going to make it past this? How are we going to overcome this? How are we going to survive? And then sometimes it's a matter of, how do I even get out of bed? How do I get to work? How do I take care of my family, my children, my spouse, whatever? Because sometimes things are just so devastating and traumatic and hard, and we're discouraged, hopeless almost. And so today's episode is really about that. And what prompted, well, first of all, let me just say, today's episode is sponsored by Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer, where we empower your vision and secure your future through estate planning and trademarks. So today's episode was really inspired by my time journaling recently. So 2025 represents 20 years since something extremely traumatic happened to me. I mean, my life changed drastically 20 years ago. I'm not going to go into details of what happened, but it was a traumatic experience. I felt hopeless. I didn't know how I would overcome it. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was just, it was just hard. I didn't feel like I had much hope, and I didn't know how I was going to survive it. And I really didn't think I would. I mean, I was at a point that I was suicidal because I just did not see any hope in the situation. I didn't see, and I couldn't comprehend that people still truly cared about me. I couldn't comprehend that I would be able to work again, that I would be able to do anything. It was just traumatic. That's just the word that keeps coming to mind. I still have times, and even though it's been 20 years, there are still times that I smell something or I hear a sound that takes me back to that. Not that I'm dwelling in it, not that I still have a victim mentality over it, but there are things that trigger those memories. And I often say, I wish I could not remember. It's not that I have not forgotten it. When things bad happen to you, you can't forget it. I mean, there's just no way to forget it. You just don't want to remember it. You don't want those triggers that come out of nowhere that's going to bring those memories back to the surface, those emotions back to the surface, those thoughts back to the surface. Now, I've read a lot and heard a lot about how our emotions can get connected to something sensory, whether it's a sound or a smell, and that when you have those negative connections between an emotion and a sensory, you need to try to override that with a positive memory. So you try to attach something positive to something that's a smell or to a sound. And so I've tried to do that, but those bad things still come up. Those bad memories still resurface. And so I wish I just could not remember is the best way I can put it. But here's the reason I want to share this with you this today. And I'm not sharing what happened. I think all of us probably can relate, though, to going through something where it was a tremendous loss. maybe it was a loss of a spouse or a child, or maybe we lost a job in spectacular fashion. Maybe we were cheated on. We were deceived. Things happen to us that maybe we were completely innocent in it, but it happened to us, and we face the repercussions. We face consequences of someone else's actions. And when you're in the moment, sometimes you just don't see a way out. You just don't see how you're going to overcome it. And when I went through my thing 20 years ago, the only hope I had at all was in Jesus. I mean, just quite frankly, I was hanging onto that hope by a thread. I mean, the smallest of threads, hanging on by that hope. And it took people who were praying for me and surrounding me with support and encouragement to just keep moving forward. And when I say I was suicidal, I was very close, and it was just an intervention by God that stopped me. I mean, that's the only way I can attribute it. But here's what I have found. And, when I was in that situation, I didn't see a way out. And when I tried to imagine my future, all I saw was just darkness. And I thought, okay, this is it. This is it. I'm not going to live to the next day. I'm not going to make it to the next day. But each morning I woke up, and, as I determined to live, I would wake up each morning and make myself get out of bed. Make myself just do the daily routines of getting in the shower, putting my makeup on, fixing my hair, going to work, putting a smile on my face, doing all the things to just get me through the day. Like, let me just get through the end of today and I'll go to bed. Let me just get through this day and get to bed, and then I'll wake up the next morning and do this over again, and just keep forcing myself to do that. But what I could not see then, that I can see now, that time has passed. 20 years has passed. And as I look back over the 20 years, and this is kind of what prompted me to do this episode today, is I was reflecting while journaling, I was reflecting over the last 20 years and just writing out the things I'm thankful for. I don't typically do like a gratitude journal that people talk about doing. I do write things down that I'm thankful for, but I just felt the need to write out what I was thankful for over the last 20 years. And so as I'm looking back, I see all the things that I have accomplished, that I have helped people through, that I have done in these last 20 years, that had I taken my life 20 years ago, I would never have done that. I would have never met my now husband, who is a gem of a man. I mean, he is just a tremendous person, kind-hearted, hardworking, just a gem. And I would have never met him. I would have never met a couple of my nephews, because they came along way after all that happened. I would have never met my great nephew. And then I wouldn't have been there when my dad passed away. I wouldn't have been there for my mom to help her through that. And I wouldn't have been there when she remarried, and then to be there when that spouse passed away recently. So there are a lot of things that I would have missed out on. But I've also missed out on how and this is not to brag at all. This is not bragging. But to see how God used me. When I was in that dark situation, I could not see any light at all. I couldn't, not even a sliver of light. It was all dark, all black. But something I've learned, that there are no shadows without light. You only know darkness because you know light. And so even though all I could see was darkness, there was light there. There was light behind that darkness waiting to shine in and waiting to come in. And what I learned is not only was Jesus sitting there waiting for me and supporting me and holding me and carrying me through that, he was ready to bring that light through the darkness in my life. But he was also ready to use me to be a light for others, and in ways I could have never, ever imagined 20 years ago. So I have been able to help sex trafficking victims. I have physically walked streets looking for victims. I have talked to victims, offered them assistance, taken them to a safe place. Things I could have never imagined doing before. And again, this is not at all about look at what I've done. This is all about look at what God did and look at what you can do. Because I went through the trenches. I walked through hell. I mean, literally walked through hell. Some of you understand that. Some of you fully understand what it's like to walk through hell and come out on the other side. You may be a little singed, maybe a little different. I'm a different person now than I was before. But when I walked through hell, it gave me the opportunity to help others walk through their hell. And because I know what it's like to be there and I'm on the other side and I have not just survived, I have thrived, you can do that too. I'm here to tell you, if you're going through something traumatic, if you feel like there's no hope, if you feel like you're never going to get out of this, you can. You can absolutely get out of it. It may take 1 minute at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, but you can do it. And because I know that, because I can look back, I have the hindsight that I didn't have 20 years ago. I didn't know what was going to happen. But now when I look back, I can see that God brought me through that and used me to help other people. I've helped other women who were in situations like I was in, like what happened to me. I've been able to help them through those situations. As I said, I've helped sex trafficking victims. I've helped domestic violence victims. I've protected families from terrible situations. I've written a book. I became a published author. I got my Master's of Divinity. All these things happened in the last 20 years. I've led Bible studies. Things that I could not foresee because I didn't have the gift to see ahead. I did not know what was going to happen in the future. But now that I have that hindsight, I can say, you can get through it. There are things ahead for you that you cannot foresee today that will blow your mind when you get there. When you get to the point, when you get through this situation, when you walk through your hell and you get through this situation, you're on the other side and you look back and go, oh wow, I was able to do this. I got through this hell and then I was able to help this person, or I was able to help in that situation, or look, I did this. Maybe it's you jump out of an airplane, you decide you're going to skydive, and you would never have thought you could do that. But see, when you go through something, you also get strength. You also have, when you realize you have more strength than you ever thought. You realize you're stronger than you ever thought. And you're like, if I can do that, if I can get through that, I can do this. I will never jump out of an airplane. I don't care what I went through. I will never jump out of an airplane. But I did do a glider thing one time. I won't do that again. I did it for a friend's birthday. I won't do it again. But those are experiences I've had. And it's to tell you, I'm telling you this so that you know there's hope for you. There's hope for you through your situation. You have greater things ahead. You have greater days ahead. So don't get discouraged. I mean, you're going to be, So you're going to be discouraged. I mean, you're going through something terrible. Maybe you've been through something before, maybe you're going through something now, or you're probably about to go through something, or will be going through something. Don't lose hope. Be encouraged. Know, like, hearing this from someone who's been to the depths of despair, seriously, the depths of despair, who was just, my soul was weary. I wasn't just tired. My soul, to the very core of my being, was weary. I made it through, and you can too. I don't know what your situation is, but I've made it through my situation. You can make it through yours. There's someone who has a situation similar to yours, and they made it through. You can do it. So one of the things that, as I was writing out all the things I'm thankful for from over the last 20 years, I was reminded of a verse out of the Bible. It's in Joel, I think it's Joel 2:25, where God promises to replace what the locusts have eaten. So when the locusts come into your life and eat away at something, they take away something. So in my situation, it took away a tremendous amount. Just almost my entire life. Took away, I thought it was going to take away my future. But God promises to restore what the locusts have eaten. And I can say He did that. 20 years, looking back over the last 20 years, I can say that He did that in my life. He restored and gave back to me what the locusts have eaten. And in Isaiah 61:17, He says He's going to give us a double portion. And I look back, I'm like, yeah, I believe that, because I believe the spouse I have right now is a triple, quadruple portion. And I've been blessed with so many other things. I don't have all the success and money and all that I'm striving for in my career, but I have been incredibly blessed. And God has taken care of me. And I can say that time and time again, God has taken care of me. And I know that because He's taken care of me, He will continue to take care of me. I know that. And so I encourage you to know that, particularly if you are a person of faith, God is going to restore you. He's going to restore what the locusts have eaten, whatever that represents for you. Whether it is a spouse cheated on you, whether it is the loss of a loved one, loss of a spouse, loss of a child, the heartache, the shame, the discouragement, the hopelessness, all those things that you're feeling, God is going to restore that. It may not happen immediately. It may take a while. I was not restored for a long time. There are certain aspects of my life that it did not get restored for years and years and years and years later. But it can happen, and it will happen. So I encourage you today, those of you who, if you're listening and you are in despair, if your soul is weary, if you feel like you have no hope, if that you have a black gaping hole in your chest that physically hurts. I didn't know that you could physically hurt from emotional pain until then. But when that emotional pain is a physical pain that you feel like there's an emptiness in your chest, you can get through it. You can make it. You can get to the other side and look back at your life and go, wow. You can get there. I'm Tanya Hendricks. Thank you for listening to Legacy Her Way today. If this conversation inspired you, moved you, please hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode, but also share this. If you know of someone who needs a little bit of encouragement, who needs to know there is hope. There is absolutely hope for you in your situation. If you know someone who needs that little bit of hope, share this episode with them so that they can hopefully get some hope and know that they can make it through. You and they are stronger than you think you are, and you can make it through it. And if you're a person of faith, you're not alone as you're walking through it. Thank you for listening to Legacy Her Way. Share this episode, subscribe to the podcast, and keep defining your legacy your way. Bye.